Rabbi Schneider, please.
Shalom. My name is Schneider. Shavua Tov. I want to talk about Ratsui and Matsui, the real versus the ideal, on three levels. On the first level, spirituality. We'll take Rabbi Nachman, the ideal that each chassid of Rabbi Nachman has in his head. And then there's the real. He comes to Uman, and he can be pleasantly surprised. He can be much stronger than he thought, or he can be disappointed by what's happening over there, or both can be true, both surprised in a good way and disappointed by other things. So this is a life question, existential question, how to deal with the real versus the ideal, the what really happens, frustration and exasperations, as opposed to one's visions and expectations. Okay, that's on the level of spirituality. Then we have it on the level of religion, what we expect the shul to be, and sometimes we can get very, very upset about what really happens in the shul. Some of us have experienced unhappy things. Some people have experienced unhappy things. And again, it's a question of it all, what Rabbi Nachman says, lo lityash. In other words, not to lose the hope of the spiritual things we believe in and the religious things, even though in reality so many negative things happen. And the third level is in family and relationships with people that we have our picture the way we believe things should be, and then sometimes it doesn't exactly work out that way, and we're disappointed. And again, we shouldn't be miyayish, we shouldn't give up on people. Now, I want to take this to Rav Kook, that I believe that Rav Kook has a replacement theology. I think most people would agree, even secular people, that Hasidus and breslov are very high spiritual developments in the Jewish religion. We know Martin Buber, at a certain point in his life, decided that he's going to sell Hasidus to the world. He's going to show the world how important Hasidus is, what a great spiritual movement it is. The first book he translated was the Sipurei Maitis of Rabbi Nachman. He went on to translate more and more, and hundreds of books have been translated. And the world is studying the secular world and the Christian world. I don't know about the Islamic world, maybe there also. They study Hasidus. This is everybody agrees that Hasidus is an important spiritual movement in the world. But it is my theory that Rav Kook became very, very exasperated, and basically he was miyayish on the Hasidus of the Baal Shem Tov and on Rabbi Nachman's way. I don't know what happened. Now, this is a very important point in his life, and we have a lot of information about Rav Kook's life, but this is skimmed over. At some point in his life, he decided that it was bad. He had a complete, the way I understand him, again, this is my interpretation, he rejected the Hasidus of the Baal Shem Tov and Rabbi Nachman totally.
Rabbi Schneider.
Replacement theology.
Hello, Rabbi
Whenever
Schneider.
he talks about Am Yisroel and the greatness of Am Yisroel, basically what he's saying is, stay away from the Baal Shem Tov, stay away from Hasidim.
Rabbi Schneider, hello?
Corrupting Am Yisroel.
Hello, Rabbi Schneider.
Yes, sir.
I think I once heard from you even that Rabbi Kook sent his son to Germany to get him away from Breslov.
It could be that was the point that it happened. That's a possibility. In other words, there was this like conflict over the son over the soul of a yehuda, if he would become a Breslov or not. Could be at that point There's even a letter I saw recently that Rav Chalab, if I remember correctly, is writing to Yehuda. You asked for the Likutei Tfilis. I cannot provide it for you. It's not on the market. Which is much later in Rav Yehuda's life. You see, he was still interested in Likutei Tfilah. That's interesting point. But in any case, I don't know. I don't know what happened. It's like a cover-up, a gigantic cover-up, because there's a hidden agenda. That's my claim. There's a hidden agenda. It's Rav Kook and his son Rav Yehuda. They're talking so much about Eretz Yisrael and Am Yisrael, and they've made like a new religion, if you will, if you want to lagzim ktat or ulai zelo agzama, that by them Am Yisrael and Eretz Yisrael has reached the point of Elohut. It's been raised up by them to the point of divinity, all based on the Kuzri, basically on the Kuzri. But I am claiming that this is a replacement theology. What they're trying to do is, whenever Rav Kook says Am Yisrael, he's saying, and not the Baal Shem Tov, and not Hasidim, and not Rebbis. And whenever he says Eretz Yisrael, he's saying, and not Rabbi Nachman. So that he is battling against Hasidus and Rabbi Nachman, but in a gentle way, or in a tricky way, wherever you want to say it. It's a hidden agenda. That's the way I read Rabbi Kook. And of course, I do not agree with him. And as a Chassid, I admit that there's terrible, terrible problems in Hasidus and in breslov, but there's terrible, terrible problems everywhere. So this comes as no surprise. And as we're saying, we have to realize that the Matsui is a million miles away from the Matsui. But still we should not give up. Now, as to what Eretz Yisrael is, I think Rabbi Nachman has a Mishnah Sedura. It appears in Sefer Likutei Moran Tinyana, Siman Ayin Ches. This is 2 months before the Rebbe died, in Uman, in Shabbos Nachamu. The Rebbe swore by Shabbos he doesn't know anything, and he gave a sicha, a very beautiful and deep, deep sicha, where he says, he invents a new terminology, Derech Eretz Yisrael. He puts together Derech Eretz with Eretz Yisrael. And he says Derech Eretz Yisrael has to do with the 26 generations before the Torah was given. He says the return to Eretz Yisrael has nothing to do with the Torah. It certainly has nothing to do with spirituality. He talks about the 5 levels of a Ish Pashut, which is the Nefesh, of a Lamdin, which is the Ruach, of a Balasoga, which is Neshama, of a Ben Mechapes, the other, which is Chaya, and of Ben Ovid is Aviv Ke'eved, which is Yechida. He talks about the 5 levels, and he says very, very clearly that Eretz Yisrael is only on the first level of prastic. In other words, it's on the level of the nefesh. It's on the level of the nation, of the survival of the Jewish people. It has nothing to do with the Torah. It has nothing. No, there's no halal on Yom Ha'atzmaut, I would say, according to the Rebbe Nachman or Yom Yerushalayim, because the return to Eretz Yisrael before Mashiach is a completely chesed thing. It's very strange. We would say the Jewish people deserve to return to Eretz Yisrael after all this suffering, after the Holocaust, and the Rebbe Nachman says no. The return to Eretz Yisrael is oitzu shomat nefchinam. It's kila olam chastoi. It has nothing to do with our mitzvahs. It has nothing to do with our Torah learning, and it appears on a plane which is completely secular. But the Rebbe says, not to be miyash. That's when the Rebbe said it. Now, the Rebbe is very, very strong for Eretz Yisrael. As we have here a middle position, it's between satmar, which completely rejects Zionism, and Rav Kook was making Zionism into something divine. And Rabbi Nachman is saying no. Eretz Yisrael is very important. He said his Ochias was from his going to Eretz Yisrael, and he's saying that was his intention in going to Eretz Yisrael, to open up the doors to Eretz Yisrael, but on a completely secular, leumi level, which is happening, has nothing to do with the giving of the Torah, has to do with before the giving of the Torah, with Avraham Avinu, with the generations from Adam, to Moshe Rabbeinu before Moshe Rabbeinu. And if Moshe Rabbeinu himself, when he wants to go into Israel, is asking like Moshe Rabbeinu himself, Eschanal is like saying, okay, I can't come in with the Torah, but let me come in without the Torah. So they'll be saying that the whole thing is without the Torah. That's why it is secular, and to try to make something religious out of it is a distortion. This is the position of the Rebbe clearly. And Rav Kook, of course, is doing the exact opposite by burying Hasidus, by giving Hasidus and breslov an unceremonial burial. He's totally against it. And by turning Yisroel and Am Yisrael into concepts that are spiritual and divine. And we must disagree with that. And the Mashiach should come. I mean, you're being called to.
Amen. Rabbi Schneider.
Yes, sir.
Maybe you want to say a few words. How could the great lover of Eretz Yisrael, you mentioned in your Sicha, send the Rav Kook, send his son out of Eretz Yisrael to, of all places, Germany?
Again, I don't know if he sent him to Germany. You have to. What happened was that if yehuda would have become a breslov, he would have been protected. The enemies of Rav Kook wouldn't be able to touch him. Rav Kook made the decision that was not the right thing to do. He was very afraid of breslov. He was afraid of breslov. He was totally, in my opinion, against it. And therefore, he didn't let his son do that. And once his son was not protected by the breslov, so what was he to do? If he couldn't be in Yaakov together with his father, when his father was dealing with all these apikosim, and with the whole conversation in the house was total apikosis from morning to night. He couldn't be in Yerushalayim where the Kanoim were hounding him, so he had to run away. This was the result of Rav Kook's decision, and it was a very great tragedy. Again, in my opinion, if Rav Kook would have gone with Hasidus and with Rabbi Nachman, he would have been one of the greatest spokesmen for Hasidus and breslov that ever existed. But for whatever reason, he decided to go in a completely different direction. And okay, Shem Yerachem.
Amen, amen. Thank you very much, Rabbi Schneider.
Okay, Shabbat Tov.
Kol tov.
Bye-bye.